All right, welcome back to Productivity Myth Buster. All right, so today we're going to talk about multitasking, right? I very rarely like to tell someone that something is or is not good. I like to tell people the pros and cons and then let them decide for themselves. So I know some people who can truly do things, a couple things at once and really get results. But what I want you to understand is the cost that it takes to switch from task to task, right? So a lot of times you feel like you're more productive if you're doing multiple things at once. But I think it's a myth only because you're really not doing two things at once, right? So when I grab for this cup, yes, I'm multitasking in the sense of I'm still talking and I was able to pick up a cup of tea, but my brain shifted like, wait, what was I talking about again? So where I have to start to replay the thought in my mind or try to catch up to where I was, that costs time, right? So that cognitive switch that your brain has to go through to go from, all right, let me pick up this cup of tea to, wait, what was I telling them again? That is a cost that's associated with multitasking. Now, this is a simple task. For me to just grab a cup of tea while I'm talking, this is something that my brain should be able to do, right? So I am holding a cup of tea. I am able to hold it with two hands. I am able to talk to you at the same time. So am I multitasking? In the grand scheme of things, sure, fine, if you want to call it that. Now, the problem occurs when you're doing things that require your brain to switch from the left side to the right side or from the analytic to the creative side. If you're doing things that allow your brain to, or that force your brain to go back and forth, that's when you get into this place where you're no longer in a flow and you have to use that build up time again. It's the same reason why distractions are very counterproductive. If you're in the zone and you're writing that email or you're writing that newsletter or that blog post and someone comes in, and even if it's a 2 minute question, hey, quick question, just wanted to ask you if XYZ. That quick question that probably requires a yes or a no takes your brain off. Oh man, what was I typing again? What was I talking about again? And those couple of seconds or minutes or however long it takes for you to get back into the zone, it's really costly. So, while I don't suggest multitasking, I do suggest batching, right? So, maybe if I'm cooking, I'll have the laundry going. I will have, I'll sweep in between doing things, but I'm not really multitasking. It's not like I'm seasoning chicken and sweeping the floor at the same time. I'm batching tasks. So when I'm doing my domestic tasks, I like to do them around the same time. So I have the washing machine going while I'm washing dishes or prepping food, and then maybe I'll sweep in between, but that's considered batching. So I'm doing similar tasks in the same time period, right? So if I'm in a creative mode, I'll say, okay, I'm going to write an email. I'm going to write a blog post. I'm going to work on content because I'm in that creative mode. So while I can do several things in that time frame, I'm really not multitasking. So what I would suggest, instead of trying to do several things at once, where you're now splitting your brain power into different directions, I would suggest that you batch things that are similar. Okay. So if you need to go out and run errands, go ahead and run all of the errands. If you need to do something that requires you to be more logical, then work on that. But I highly recommend that you batch similar tasks to keep that brain flow instead of trying to work on multiple projects at the same time. Because what's going to happen is you're given 100% here for 5 minutes and then 100% here for 3 minutes, and then you're just switching back and forth. So it would be better if you just finish one project and start another, right? So that doesn't mean that you're going to spend 3 months working on one thing. You could potentially work on something for a couple hours and then switch to something else. So then you have two projects or tasks going on during the same time period. But in terms of that brain power that it takes to switch from one to another, I highly suggest that you save yourself the switching back and forth and just focus on one thing. Focus is so important. So that's your productivity myth buster. Multitasking is not all the rave. All right. Talk to you soon.